Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Carlos Gonzalez. I want to welcome everybody to this month's Catalyst. This is our monthly gathering of area influencers and people who are impacting our county and our community. For those who are in the room, once again, welcome. If you joined us on Zoom, we want to also thank you, and please feel free to interact with our host, John Torres, in the back. Yeah. For those on Zoom, the crowd just went wild when we said John Torres. So just a few things as we get started this morning. If you're here in the room, please sign in in the sheet in the middle of your table. If you are online, please mute your audio, and please feel free to use the chat to interact. Also, a few thank yous for this morning. We want to thank Starbucks for the gift of coffee. Anybody okay with the gift of coffee this morning? We also want to thank CrossPoint for allowing us, for the gift of this space, and also Ryan, our sound tech. Thank you, Ryan. We also want to celebrate. Oh, that's nice. We want to celebrate our community businesses and organizations that sponsor Catalyst. So up on the screen you can see, we thank Access Plus Capital, Blue Shield of California, Oak Valley Community Bank, Rolling F Credit Union, TSM Insurance, Stanislaus Equity Partners, and Valley First Federal Credit Union. So as we get started this morning, just a reminder of why we are here. Catalyst is a place for community conversations and connections that matter. This is a safe place to explore issues that face our community. Remember, we are a diverse people from different perspectives that choose, that's a key word, choose to work together for the benefit of our community. So it is our hope as we create this space, as we come together, it's our hope that we will connect with others who share our vision and passion, and then begin to build trust and collaborate together to impact our community for everyone's benefit. We believe at City Ministry Network that everything moves at the pace of trust. So it's important for us to build trust, collaborate, and as many of us see here today, see great work happen in our community as we come together. So as we get started, we're going to have our first table discussion of the morning. So on your screen, we will have two questions. Remember, this is a space for you to share your answers, but also hear everybody's answer. So please, let's give everybody an opportunity to speak. So the first table discussion, here are questions. Number one, do you remember the first time you realized you were a leader in some capacity? And number two, what was the situation and how did you feel about that experience? So once again, do you remember the first time you realized you were a leader in some capacity, and what was the situation and how did you feel about that experience? So we'll give you some time to have this conversation around your table. Thank you.
Oh, this is a little high. All right, friends, can you guys hear me okay? So hopefully that got some good conversation going. My thoughts went all the way back to like 7th or 8th grade and some things I remembered. All right, guys, so let's bring it up. So this morning in November, Marvin always likes to take some time and look back over the year and really look at like what is some of the work that CMN has done over the year, how are we growing, where are we moving towards, and in that time, so in that time, kind of sharing a little bit and celebrating really is what November is often about. And so this year we were looking at, okay, so what could we do to talk through the story of CMN over the last year? And as we were brainstorming, I started sharing a little bit about my first Catalyst that I ever went to. And we started thinking about where we started. Like, where did CMN start? Where did this work start? Because there are amazing things that have happened over the last 5, 10 years. And a lot of it as a result of what happens in this room. So today, you're going to get to kind of walk through some of that. We're going to have you doing a lot of discussion, a lot of talking about some of your own first Catalyst meetings, some of your own first involvement with CMN. But we're going to take some time and reflect a little bit and talk a little bit about where we came from, the work we're doing today, and hopefully where we see this work of collaborative leadership moving in our community. So when I started thinking a little bit about Catalyst and where it started for me, so in 2007, I was a volunteer staff for a local nonprofit working with youth. I had a gentleman that I didn't quite know very well, but who had some interesting ways of challenging us, who also really enjoyed 6 a.m. book studies. And at 19 or however old I was, they weren't my favorite. But he had us do a 6 a.m. book study right before this meeting called Catalyst. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know about community work. I wasn't even quite sure what I was going to be doing in the world. And this was probably 2007 or 2008. But we did this book study, 6 a.m., real early, lots of coffee. And then he said, so you can stay if you want to. There's some pretty cool things happening at this meeting. It's called Catalyst. Basically, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of cool things happening in our community, but nobody talks to each other. We don't really know who's doing what. We have people who might work with our homeless neighbors, right? We have people who might work with youth or who work in different areas, but they don't really know each other. And so everybody's kind of doing their own thing and then repeating the same work over and over. And what would it be like if we came together? So that was what I was told about Catalyst. And that first meeting, I remember sitting down and kind of looking around, and it was a room of tables that looked a lot like this. And one by one, people would stand up, share their name, what they did, and sit down, right? And everybody would kind of do that, and then we'd sort of group and talk a bit. And if I worked with, youth and you worked with youth, we would sit down and talk more. And so I was thinking a lot as we've been looking at this month going, how cool, right, that that's almost a given now. I don't know about you, but if you start to work in this community, it isn't, okay, good, go do it, good luck, right? There's 12 other people doing what you're doing, but that's all right, go ahead, keep going. The conversation is very different. The conversation is, have you talked to so-and-so? Right? Do you know that person? Have you heard of this organization? Because they're doing something similar, and you could really learn from it, right? So what we want to do right now is I want you to think a little bit, and some of you were probably at some of those earliest meetings, which is kind of cool too. I want you to think a little bit about these next two questions. So I want you to think about your first Catalyst. The first time you came here, what do you remember noticing? What did you notice? What did you learn? And then what kept you coming back? All right, so again, today is all about you guys working and talking together, because the work is not about what's happening up here, and the work is not about the staff of CMN. The work is about how you all are engaging together. And so that's what we want more of today. So again, those two questions, we're gonna give you some time, and I want you to talk about your first Catalyst. What did you learn? What did you notice? And then what kept you coming back? All right, hello? Can you guys hear me? Okay. So hopefully that was a nice little trip down memory lane. My voice is getting more gravelly, I apologize. A couple of highlights from our table we're talking about, we wouldn't probably show up if it were just a speech that we came to listen to, right? And so we were really thinking about, like, for us, the fact that it's learning but paired with learning together, right? Like that community connection really, really was important for us. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna kind of get a chance to hear other people's conversation points through using a Slido. So what I'm gonna have them do, if you can scan the QR code. For a second I thought people were taking a picture of me and I was a little confused, but so go ahead and in 1 or 2 words describe why you keep coming back to Catalyst. So I'm gonna, hopefully I'm not in y'all's way. Connection, relationship, caring people. Yeah, I heard that as well at our table. Networking, community, collaboration. I love how the one gets bigger when that's the thing that people are putting, right? Learning, encouragement, community connection, vision for the city, hearing from others, the people. I heard that a few times as well at our table, that it feels warm, you feel welcome, regardless of how you fit. Thank you guys. Hopefully that's an encouragement. Why do you keep coming back? This is why, right? It's the people you sit with. So as you guys are finishing up answering, I'm going to go ahead and move us to the next thing. So as we're telling our story today, one of the things that we wanted to do is talk to you a little bit about, so we've talked about where we came from. Catalyst is really where CMN started, right? It started as this, going, what does leadership need in our community if we're going to make this a better place to grow up and grow old in? So what are we doing now? What is CMN up to? And here's the thing, most people are they know one of the things that CMN does. And so what we wanted to do is show you a video that'll give you a window into a couple of different ways that CMN has impacted our community, even in the last year. And so hopefully it helps spark for you that, oh, there's more happening and more to get involved in. So we're gonna show you a quick video just talking a little bit about what we do.
I've been asked through the years, what is it that motivates City Ministry Network? The first few words of our mission statement says, because God loves the world, this is what we do. But I want to say to you, to everybody, that because God loves the world, City Ministry Network is compelled, we are urged, we are motivated to do the work of leadership development in whatever place or space or individuals that come across us. One of the key phrases, if you were ever sit in one of our staff meetings or one of our board meetings, is we say a lot to each other that we are chasing the wild goose. In Celtic theology, chasing the wild goose meant we're leaning closely to seeing where God is doing his work of transformation, and we want to join him there. And so now, as we are operating in this season, what does that look like for us? What does that look like for our community? We are probing and poking and wondering and experimenting and exploring, trying to figure out what would be the best way to develop our young people and our leaders in our community.
Catalyst is a place where multi-sector leaders come together to convene, collaborate, and work together for the common good of the community.
I remember the main takeaway I was told about this meeting was, we don't want to recreate the wheel. If somebody already is doing work in our community, why wouldn't we join together and make it stronger?
You know, one of the exciting things is when you get people in the room who have need, who have resources, who have dreams and ideas and imaginations that sometimes they have a hard time figuring out how it works. It's been incredible to be a part of conversations and action in our community where people of like minds but different backgrounds and different gifts and abilities find each other and begin to dream together.
Catalyst is a place where we really have three goals. One is for leaders to meet one another. Second, for them to see the positive things that are happening in the community. And third, we encourage collaboration throughout the community.
The power of community collaboration is essential to any kind of systemic changes that we can have in our community. The mantra of loving people, of caring for people, like CMN has really participated in, is, in my opinion, the only way we're going to see these significant changes.
One of the communities that we've discovered we had a deep need for to develop leaders was in the Latino community.
So Latino Leadership Initiative is a cohort program designed for emerging Latino leaders to help really equip them with the core competencies around civic leadership and civic engagement. And so really developing those core competencies for leaders in our community.
It actually came from gathering a bunch of local community leaders that kind of look like I do, and we realized that they were just amazing leaders in the community, but not a lot of people knew who they were, and that was kind of one of the things that we didn't understand. And we realized that, man, if we were more intentional about developing those leaders, we could really change the narrative of our leadership.
And so by really intentionally investing in strengthening the Latino leaders in our community to really help us really move towards changing the leadership landscape here.
Key for us was working with LLI because I think they were really shaping and supporting the character development and the skill sets, and we came alongside them as sort of a parallel program to then place them on nonprofit boards. So it's been a great partnership. informal in some ways, but really jives together beautifully.
In my personal experience, LLI is a place where people like me, a Latina, daughter of immigrants, a person of color, from Westside Modesto, where I have a place where I developed my skills as a leader, but also discovered that I have a place at the table where most decisions are made in our community, because I feel like I have this like view of like the people who make the decisions in our community don't look like me. So I was able to discover that no, I have a place at a table where I make those decisions.
In my eyes, it's really a space to build community with other young leaders and to really learn about yourself individually, as well as your culture and how that applies to your leadership style and how you can impact your community through your leadership style. I feel so much more confident. When I started LLI, I was really scared and lost as a leader. I honestly didn't see myself as a leader. And through, the several months going through the cohort, I started slowly but surely finding my voice, knowing that my voice mattered, and it just made me a more confident person individually, but it also made me a more confident leader in my work.
In 2021, we were invited by the Stanislaus Community Foundation and Stanislaus County government to sit down together with this idea to create in Stanislaus County a community development corporation.
So prior to the pandemic, before we even knew what was about to happen, obviously across the world, in 2019, Stanislaus Community Foundation commissioned a body of work around economic mobility. And through that study, we began to understand that we're actually missing some basic infrastructure. And one of those core pieces was an organization that's basically a community development organization that's focused on economic mobility at the neighborhood level and being sophisticated enough to understand how capital flows and how we can begin to flow that capital into the communities that need it most. That type of organization didn't exist in Stanislaus County.
Stanislaus Equity Partners, STEP, was established as a 501c3 under the guidance of City Ministry Network. STEP exists to determine any types of solutions, the types of gaps that are in our ecosystem that would provide housing for individuals that normally couldn't get housing. We have a housing crisis. Because of STEP's DNA of being collaborative and not wanting to replicate anything, we've been really very significantly focused in on finding out who's doing what and have developed partners that are helping us together come up with a plan that addresses the homeless issue as well as the housing issue that we have in Stanislaus County.
We believe that Stanislaus Equity Partners, this community development corporation, can break the cycle of generational poverty in two ways. Number one, home ownership, helping our mom and dads, those mom and dads on the margins, own their own home to create wealth for their families and for their own children. The second way we need to do, and we believe that we can do this, is small business development, encouraging the entrepreneurial spirit that thrives in Stanislaus County, and thus create generational wealth for their children. So our goal through Stanislaus Equity Partners, which City Ministry Network had the privilege to incubate and then birth and release, they are now their own organization, is to break that cycle of generational poverty. I've just shared with you just a handful of incredible things that we've been privileged to be entrusted with and to be a part of. Developing leaders in all kinds of different sectors, being entrusted by other organizations in government to do our work of leadership development and increasing the opportunity for men and women to raise their families here. We see things for our community, for our county, for our Central Valley that so many others can't see. And we look forward to having those dreams come to fruition.
So the amazing part is that that's only three. We talked about Catalyst, we talked about LLI, and we talked about the launching of this organization STEP. It's only 3 of the things that CMN is involved in and engaged in. But it's pretty cool, right, to be able to see. I don't know about you, but that makes me feel proud of the community we live in. Like, there are some amazing things happening. And the other thing that I think is so amazing is that for us, for City and Ministry Network, it really is about caring for people in a way that changes them, right? So what I want you to do around your tables is have another little discussion. The question for this one is about what resources do you wish that you had access to as a new leader? Like, when you were new at this, and maybe you're still new at this, what resources do you wish you had access to? And what do you wish you had known as a new leader? All right, so go ahead and chat at your tables for a few minutes. Okay. All right, friends. It looks like there's good conversations going on, and I always hate to interrupt that since that's what we're actually about here. We're going to do another Slido so that we can share some of these responses with each other, right? Because the cool part is we're having great conversations at our table, but you guys all don't get to hear each other's information. So go ahead and do this second Slido here, which they're working on bringing up. I was thinking about that second question, what do I wish I had known? And so I was telling my table, I wish I would have known that nobody actually knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, we all think that somebody has the secret and that somehow, somewhere, I missed it and I'm floundering trying to figure it out. I wish I really actually knew that nobody knows. That would have been really great. So go ahead and do the Slido here. In 1 or 2 words, what did you need to know about as a young leader regarding collaboration? So when you were new at this, what do you wish you had known about collaboration? Some of you are typing, so I'll wait. Vision. Being humble. Transparency. Synergy. That you matter, to learn first, that you're never too young, you're not alone. Partnership, that it's safe to share, it's not a competition. Oh, if we could learn that about collaboration, how much more effective would we be, right? That we're a work in process. To relax and show up. Also great advice for collaboration, right? Empathy. Those are good ones. So we'll take a minute. I'll make sure the rest of you get a chance to answer. And so as you see more popping up there, hopefully this has been helpful to reflect a little bit on your own growth, have changed for you. This is the work that we do, right? We continue to grow together and to hopefully move forward, that we care about each other in a way that changes and grows us. So I'm going to go ahead and for this last little part, we're going to have Marvin, what's your official title? CEO? Fearless leader? Yeah. So we're going to have Marvin come up. What we've asked from him is to just cast a bit of vision for us about where we're going. So you've heard a little bit about where we came from and where we are. So Marvin.
That's funny. My board president doesn't even know my title, so which means she's probably wondering, what does he really do? So all they know is I'm going to be the one to get fired and get blamed. So that's basically how I figure that out. You know, it is fun to see all your responses. At the table, somebody asked me, those was in my notes, somebody said to me, what is the wish thing I would have learned? I wish I would have known that after all the gifts and all the skills, and I've had wonderful people mentor me and coach me and all those kind of things to deal with my mess of what it means to be human, to work on my not enoughness. Because no matter what I did, I think I'm really excited about my life. On the other hand, my not enoughness, I kept stumbling over that. I'm not enough, and I still do. City Ministry Network, we lead leaders. We influence you. We throw out ideas to you. And the fun thing about leaders is you all think your opinion matters the most, right? That my opinion matters. And so
in my not enoughness, I've struggled through these years of, oh my gosh, she doesn't think we're doing the right thing, or we're not he thinks this, or and so I was telling Sue, just met Sue, hi Sue over here, is that we tend to do the thing we're supposed to do, but it's not always as joyful. I'm not even sure, it wasn't even in my notes, but I can't answer for you what has been the thing you wish you had known when you were younger. The other thing was, and Courtney mentioned this, is that the other thing she wished she would have known, and I think Ulysses said it, was that nobody really knows what they're doing. And when you lead leaders, we all think that we're supposed to stand up and act like we all know what we're doing, and this is what you do. And the truth of it is, come on, dude. You're chasing the crumbs just like the rest of us. And life tends to lead with hints and hunches. I wish it was different. But you take a step and go, oh, okay, I guess I better do something. Oh, and you kind of, and I was talking to a young leader yesterday, and you'll know you're getting better when more often than not, not that you're always doing the right thing, but more often than not. This was not even in my notes. I'm supposed to be casting vision. But I do want to say to you, one of the visions of us is, yes, come and put your guards down. We want this to be a trusting group of people. Whenever that you interact with us, that you can be safe to say, you know what, sometimes I just don't know, or I'm just not the kind of husband or father or mother or daughter that I need to be, and it's okay. You'll figure it out. At our staff meeting of the day, one of our staff people say, I just get tired of being taught all the time. I just want to tell you what I think, and don't teach me. Well, we're all in a room with teachers, and so we all got to give each other 3-point outlines, and it is exhausting at times, right? And so leading leaders, which is all of you, you're all influencers. You all have circles of influence. You're going to walk out of here and impact thousands of people. You will, or hundreds of people. So I guess I want to say to you, be yourself and be who you are. If you walk away with anything today, let's keep being who we are, because the world is a tough place and it's a messy place. That wasn't even in my notes, but for some reason I thought I need to encourage you. You can come and mess with and hang with us and be who you are. And I hope you'll feel that, and I hope we'll prove that to you. So when we think about City Ministry Network, we want to continue to celebrate and highlight you. From the beginning, this was about you. This was about the community. This was about highlighting and celebrating men and women in our community that were making a big difference. And yes, I know what all the media says about our county and what it says about our city. Yeah. Because if it bleeds, it leads. But the truth, when you start getting into the core and the heart of our community, it's all of you. It's givers. It's servants. It's people who are sacrificing. Whether you get paid or not. I was in a conversation the other day, and one of my friends to me, yeah, well, you get paid to, and I said, hey, I'm sorry, I don't get paid to be in this meeting. This is not what I'm about. But I'm here because I care. Now, he was my friend, so we could talk that way. But you all do so much, and you're not getting paid. But you love our community. You love the men and women that are a part, and we want to celebrate and highlight you. Yes, City Ministry Network is an organization. But from the beginning, and one of my early mentors, Ross Bryles, who's here, who helped start City Ministry Network is about you. It's about highlighting and celebrating and bringing us together, because we discovered that we had so many diverse leaders. And by the way, it is a growing diversity of leaders in our community and individuals, and it's only going to get more diverse. So you can choose to lead with your own tribe, or you can learn, like the rest of us, how to get in a room and work in diversity and celebrate those diverse men and women in our differences. I think somewhere somebody said e pluribus unum. That's in our nation's DNA, and it is in our community as well. Yeah, we disagree sometimes. Yeah, we see something different. Yeah. But where can we find the similarities and create safe containers to have these kind of conversations, to work together? I have the privilege of being a part of difficult conversations, uncomfortable conversations, where you hurt my feelings or you said this and now I'm hurt by it. And sometimes I'm guilty as well. But we continue together as we learn together to hold those conversations in safe ways and safe places. City Ministry Network is getting laser focused about what we're about. We're about developing you, about developing influencers, about developing men and women who leave this room or leave our programs and lead our efforts, and they walk in the room as a certain type of person. Servant leaders. Leaders who with the motive of serving, who have the gifts and abilities, who know how to collaborate, who know how to play in the sandbox with other people. Whether you agree or not, fine. But we have got to figure out how to keep doing this together. You have to. And we got to get better at it. I was talking to a senior teacher at Hanshaw Middle School. He's been there 25 years. Imagine junior high kids for 25 years. With all the hormones, oh my gosh, and the feelings and all that. And I love junior high kids. On the other hand, all the hormones. I said to him, what would you say to a younger teacher? And I just had an interaction with two young teachers at Loma Junior High School. Amazing young women who are continuing to make a difference in the lives of people as they get older as well. And they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and, their principal has them doing everything because that's what you do with the single new teachers, right? But I said to him, 25-year veteran, working at Hanshaw Middle School, if you know the neighborhood, there's a little other toughness to it. What would you tell these young teachers? And he said, I would tell them to always remember their why. That why are they there? And I'm going to tell you very clearly, City Ministry Network, our why, and it's our first sentence in our mission statement. Because God loves the world, we love. And how is that love reflected? Our piece of the pie? Our piece of the pie. You might think there should be other pieces, and there's in the piece of a healthy community where people grow up and grow old in, a wonderful place. We all have a piece. Our piece is developing leaders. You have your place. We have our place. We play our part. You play your part. And guess what? If you don't do your part doesn't get done. Our part doesn't get done. We've highlighted over the years men and women, just even this year, men and women who just got out of jail and they're celebrating. Next month, I'm really looking forward to Downtown Street Teams. We're going to have a couple of the gals come up who work with them. We're going to have men and women who are out in the streets and you see them downtown cleaning. We're going to hear their stories at the tables. We want to continue to highlight those men and women who are doing incredible things. I'm looking forward to next year highlighting and celebrating the diversity in our community. Why? It takes all of us. It's going to take all of us. What is our piece? Our piece of the pie is developing leaders, and we're getting laser focused about that. Laser focused. And those men and women, those leaders are you. And we want to continue to celebrate you and be a part with you. There was one writer who one time said, the best day of a person's life is when they're born. Second best is when they discover why they were born. And I want to encourage you, I want you to know this. As time goes on, as history, the last 15, 20 years of just doing community work, we're really clear that developing leaders and continuing to develop you and collaborative leaders, servant leaders, is what our piece of this pie is. You figure out your why, the reason why you're on the planet, And we can help you with that as well. And then you go be it, and you go do it. Because men and women, if you don't do it, nobody else will. I was telling my table, like I've told numerous ones of you, I grew up never being enough. Didn't matter. I just had this mess in me. And that voice still pops up in my head often. And so I back off, I withdraw, I go in my cave. Some of you, when you get feel attacked or upset, you come attacking. That's your personality. Mine, man, I go in my cave and I go deep. So we want to continue to help you and highlight you. I'm grateful that we highlighted Stanislaus Equity Partners. But I also want you to know and just be aware, we've been a part of incubating and birthing numerous nonprofits in our community, or thousands of man hours that we don't get paid to do. Thousands of man hours sitting with you or men and women in our community being your friend, because you know leadership is a lonely place. Consulting, listening, coaching, mentoring. We spend literally thousands of hours. If you go to one of the Starbucks, in fact, Courtney was telling me the other day, the one downtown, hey, do you know Marvin? What does he do? Many people around me wonder, what does he do? But meeting with people, encouraging them, because you know, being a leader in this generation, it's tough. God bless you if you're political, if you're an elected official. God bless you, Sue. Just, man, it is rough. Because everybody has an opinion and nobody seems to understand how to influence people without crucifying them. CMN Ministry Network, because God loves the world, we were born to develop leaders. And even from the beginning, when we were invited to go and interview church leaders about why this community of church leaders wasn't cooperating with this church leader, this group of leaders, and all that drama that goes with human beings. From the beginning. So I'm going to ask you this. What can you do? What can you do? I can tell you, because we're a small nonprofit, we need sound technicians. We need event coordinators. We need men and women who are willing to spend time learning how to coach and mentor. Bless you, but some of you don't know how to mentor and coach. You know how to tell people what to do. Learning what this generation needs from their mentors and their coaches. And it's different than what we used to know, what we used to know how to do. It's different. But that's what City Ministry Network needs right now. We also, just like everybody else, continue to need financial resources and people who are apart with us. And with candor, we need encouragement too from you. I tell people regularly, and many of you have been an experience of this, is that your name will come to my mind, and I'll text you, and I'll say, hey, was just thinking about you. You okay? Or, man, I like you, or whatever that would be. And so I want to encourage you, please, to capture that thought and say, hey, I was just thinking about you, and I don't know, say whatever you want to say. City Ministry Network. Because God loves the world, we're going to develop leaders. And the board, my board has become laser focused on that. And I tease and say, Courtney's my boss, but if you were in our board meetings, you know I don't have a vote. And I do that on purpose. Because this is going to be about all of us, or it's not going to be about any of us. When it comes to the community, I want to encourage you to do this. So what do you do about developing leaders? I want to encourage you all. Many of you are already doing this, but I want to encourage you. You are the gift of God to our community. You. Not just what you do, but you. So I want to encourage you to continue to get out there in your piece of the pie. Wherever that might be, you get out there and continue to build trusted relationships and learn what that means. How do you build trusted relationships within a world of difference? You can do it. And we can model that. We can be examples of that. I call it the other, and I'm having the privilege of being to be in places intentionally where I'm very uncomfortable or I'm unaware. I'm not uncomfortable, and I think I have never been in a kind of circle like this. I've never been in a room like this. And it's been uncomfortable and it's been amazing at the same time. Because when you get in those circles, in those rooms, you realize they're human just like me. And I can tell you, if you've experienced this, when we're friends, nobody messes with you around me. And I would say that with a lot of you. If you're my friend, nobody messes with you. And I don't care if we agree on things or not agree. And I think that's where we should all be together, watching each other's back, learning how to mentor the young, and learn how to be a guide alongside rather than a sage on the stage. What we're getting clear about, and we are clear, is developing leaders. We all have all kinds of different ideas on how to do that, and we need to get better at it. We need to get better. But I want to encourage you to continue to be who you are, because you are City Ministry Network. Because God loved the world. We're going to do our piece of the pie, and that's our why. I'm going to ask the boss to come on up.
All right, so to wrap up this morning, hopefully it was encouraging to maybe learn a little something new about the work we do, but also remember why you stay engaged. That we're all a mess, but we're learning from each other. A couple of things as I kind of close up, I was thinking about, I should talk into the mic, what I was thinking about as we were wrapping up. Like he said, STEP is not the only organization that is launched. Even out of this room, there are conversations that have sparked new movements, new programs. We had the panel of the Afghan Women's Program, which came from sitting in a meeting just like this and going, oh, I have something I could offer. And it's small, but who knows what could happen. And I think sometimes about, like even if you look at Jesus feeding the 5,000, it was a small gift at first that went, hey, I don't know what this could do, but we'll see, right? That's what we do in this space, right? It's a small idea, it's a small thought, it's a small, I guess I could do this thing. The other thing that I was thinking as I'm sitting here, and this is maybe a little off topic, but also applicable, I promise, is I'm newly on the Nextdoor app. I'm new to this, but there's a lot of complaining. Okay, like every day, people are complaining about all kinds of things. This is basically like Facebook for complaining about your neighbors. But here's the thing, like I also sit in this meeting and it's a completely different vibe, as the kids say, right? Because there is care for our community. Our community is a beautiful place. If you're on those apps, maybe not so much. There's lots of complaining. There's lots of problems, right? But when I walk in this space, when I hear what's going on, when I hear about the work that's happening, I am so proud to be part of this community. It is a gift to be part of this community. And so I hope, above all else, you leave feeling that and even more convinced of your ability to engage and move that forward, whatever that looks like. Collaboration begins around these tables in small things, small conversations. So what I'd like you to do, just again, we always tell you this, take time to connect with somebody in this room, outside of this room. If we could even have one person do that and you come and tell me next month, maybe I buy the coffee or something, right? Like that would be amazing, just one connection outside of this room. We always talk about our giving. If you are able, there are tents on the table. Also make sure you sign in so we know you were here. But there is a QR code if you are able to engage with us as a donor. We always appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and have Andrea and Sarah come up really quickly, talk to you just for like 1 minute about next month so you have an idea of what's happening, and then we're going to go ahead and close.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm a case manager with the Downtown Streets team. A little bit about us. We are a nonprofit organization. We work with individuals who are experiencing homelessness or at risk of experiencing homelessness. The team members are able to access case management once they are on the team. And this really is working on any goals that they have, not just housing or employment. This can be personal growth, vital documents. They take part in a 1-year volunteer work experience program. So that is the beautification of downtown. They can volunteer up to 5 days a week. And I think that is it in a nutshell.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Andrea. I'm a project manager with the Downtown Streets team. So next month, our team members, that's how we refer to our clients, will be joining the Catalyst meeting. So we will have a team member at every single table, and they will share their story and their experience with homelessness. Some have recovered and have secured housing. Others are still on that journey of finding their new home. So please come and join us. We invite you to really hear from our team members, their experience, their stories. It's really inspirational just being able to give them the platform and the opportunity to really share how hard it is, but also what Downtown Streets team means to them and also the Modesto community entirely. So thank you, and we really look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to close us with that, but I'm excited to hear some new neighbors' stories that hopefully are more positive too than what's on next door. All right, let me go ahead and close this in prayer and we'll call it good this morning. Jesus, thank you for these friends. Thank you for what you're showing us. Give us eyes to see what you want us to, and courage to join you where you're working. In Jesus' name, amen.